Hello and welcome to another quick tutorial video. For today, we will be covering virtual assistants and what do VAs do. This will be just quick and these are the topics that we will be covering. The type of tasks or work categories, a structured Q&A on frequently asked questions, and a free tool where to practice later on. So finish the entire vid for you to get into that free training. Let's begin. So here are the types of virtual assistants. First, admin or executive assistant. These are just 5, but there could be more. I'm just providing you a quick overview and look on 5 of the most heavily marketed and searched for types of virtual assistant jobs on many platforms. First is an admin or an executive assistant. You either do personal or business matters. For example, you try to research for a client's business. You handle CMS systems or content management systems. As a personal assistant, you could handle their calendars and make sure they attend to the most important meetings of the day. You could also book them flights or dinners depending on whatever they need support with. And for some work tasks, they do bookkeeping, accounting. These are specialized types of jobs which requires you to have prior experience. But under this type of virtual assistants, could also very basic types of tasks such as data entry and typing. Next, email or support, wherein the client will let you handle their support inbox or live chat. So you will be there answering questions from customers or businesses they deal with. Social, you either conceptualize, organize, plan, schedule, monitor, or measure the growth of their social media pages. So you do it from conceptualizing until implementation and monitoring of their return on investment. Content, this is mainly for writers. You either create content that will enhance their sales in emails, blogs, press releases, lead magnets, anywhere that requires digital writing. And lastly, design or web. You could either create their brochures, design their flyers, social content, websites, any other online collaterals they have the moment. So becoming a virtual assistant is like an all-around worker. Virtual assistance is like an umbrella term wherein you can do so much more than just admin or exec stuff. Like what I showed you, you can do email or content, anything that you are specialized with. Here's a sample task I had from a client before. You could get a variety of tasks depending on the client needs. This sample wants us to do research because the current need is for them to stop using ClickFunnels but replace it with something more robust and particularly useful as a simple e-commerce website, which means nothing complicated. They've been looking at Shopify, but if you research more, you could find Shopify alternatives that are on their price range, or Shopify alternatives that don't require coding, anything that's like drag and drop. So Shopify is one of those. Just make sure that when you research, you satisfy all their needs. Like, for example, they need people the option to sign up and send email, auto email responses. You have to create a report that highlights all of this. You have to solve the problem for them and provide them all the alternatives they need. We will look into doing this later in our free training. Next, this is another sample task, but more of writing. The client provided you with a list of links that could be an inspiration into whatever it is they need to be written about. These are mostly SEO stuff, so they want you to create something out of that. And of course, when they provide you links, you have to skim through it and also provide other types of links relevant to whatever they have provided already. Another sample task, this one is more on lead generation. LinkedIn Advanced Search, they use a special tool, Data Miner IO, because sometimes in LinkedIn you cannot download or export all of the files you'll be getting there. For example, you searched for ad agency whatnots in New York, and the company should be like 50 plus. Whatever results you get there, probably hundreds or thousands of them, you were gonna need a third-party tool such as Data Miner IO to get all those and export it into an easily digestible Excel file. So here are some facts or FAQs. Do you need experience? Mostly for specialized work like design or accounting. But as I've mentioned, you could also view our video tutorial for data entry. It will be linked below. You can start with typing and data entry jobs. These are still nestled under virtual assistants, but you're doing something very simple that most virtual assistants do when they're newbies, because you can build on these skills. For example, the lead generation task, it requires that you're somehow experienced with data entry, because you need to use tools that incorporate it in Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel and be able to do extraction, copy pasting, etc. etc. From there, you can work the ladder and gain more experience and provide more services that are more attuned to your skills and hobbies that you like doing. So, for example, if you like writing, you will do that later on for them. You create email autoresponders, newsletters, etc. Next, where do you usually find work? It's suggested that for beginners, it's highly encouraged that you start working on online job platforms such as Upwork and Fiverr or online jobs, because it's easier to get verified clients there who have history of payments already made to other clients or to other freelancers. You can experiment on your own, try invoicing clients outside of these platforms if you have probably a few months of experience. We could talk about more on that in later vlogs. In online job platforms, they do the job for you, verifying clients. And when you search for jobs, the posts already contain mostly from clients who have history of paying, so you know they're verified. when you're doing this on your own, like finding clients outside, for example, you find clients in LinkedIn, Facebook, or elsewhere, it will be your duty to do the verifying on your own. And newbies just will not be able to do that if they don't have experience. Next, how to prepare for an interview. This will vary depending on what the client prefers. But regardless, whether they like to just chat or do a video call, the best tip I could give you is to read the job description carefully and visit the client website to get pointers on how to answer the question, what could be your greatest asset that will help their business needs at the moment? For example, they need someone who can grow their social media. What skills do you have right now that could answer that need? Show them your portfolio and look at their social media pages right now and tell them what to improve. They'll be very impressed to know that you've done that prior. Next, will there be training? Training in a sense that if you get hired, there may be some systems in place already in their businesses that you're not familiar with. For example, the client's already using WordPress. Some newbies still don't know how to do that. Perhaps a more complicated setup would be QuickBooks for accountants. Any other website system that is already in place in your business and they need to train you so that you can do your job well. That's the kind of training we are looking forward to. What are payment terms and how? Highly recommended to use PayPal, Payoneer, or TransferWise. The last two have better currency conversions compared to PayPal, but depends. You can tell your client what you like, and you can agree on it later on. So this is where the online job platforms comes in, because they usually already have the fine print provided to you. You don't need to provide a contract. It's automatically done. But you can research in Google how to do online contracts. You'll find great results. One other suggestion is to get upfront payment or get prepaid once a week, even before you do any work. So there will be milestones. For example, this is like a project for a month and you get paid for the first week and you deliver the results. Same for the next week. This is so we make sure that you get paid regardless. But later on, you can rearrange another agreement for the client to pay probably twice or once a month if you already have gained more trust. With regards to benefits, this is something you do on your own. For example, taxes, government mandated benefits such as taxes, SSS, you do those on your own. You can also search for them online. There are many great tutorials out there. I could also create one for you. Just comment and leave any topic suggestions below. And about 13-month and bonuses, you could tell that to them beforehand. If in case this is a long-term agreement and you'll be working for months or years, but you have to inform them prior because some of them don't know this, and you just have to provide them an idea how it goes. So what are the requirements? Yourself, a laptop or desktop, because most of these jobs require so many other things you do at once. You can't use a phone. Sadly, a stable internet connection and tools or clients that your clients require, depending on what job you apply for. So here's the training one. How do you train to become a VA? If you're familiar with Google, they have very useful business tools which you can use even if you haven't worked yet. Just go to drive.google.com. If you have a Gmail account, it can be connected there. You can open it and sample any of those tools they have in there. Anyway, here are other sample tasks or jobs that most VAs usually do. Based on my experience, you either do blog management, email, document processing. This is like I prepare the documents for signing or contracts, data entry, we've discussed earlier, customer support, calendar management, or appointment setting. Appointment setting is when you like cold call leads to setting an appointment with your client so they could book or buy their service. That's it. When you search for example, the keyword is virtual assistant in online jobs, PH, you see the requirements right away in there. So just read those before you apply. Let's get back to the sample task we have read a while ago. This one. So if you do any research, what they need is a ClickFunnels alternative. Probably don't like it anymore. So right away, you're provided with options. All you have to do is visit one of those one by one, and then when you report to your client, you create levels of pros and cons based on their requirements. They need people to sign up, so that should be feature number one, and you'll be able to send auto email responses. Look at what they did. You could just copy and paste this. The report is provided to you already. But of course, you still have to read this and prove yourself. If you're already familiar with some of them, like I'm not familiar with Ontraport. I'm familiar with what else? Samcart, I'm familiar with that. Instapage, I kind of know it, and Lead Pages. All these sites, they provide the features the clients need. For example, they need, what we call this, sign up option. They provide that. They also need that you send autoresponders. They also provide this. You just have to go, for example, if you're not familiar with them, you click on the websites and you could search on your own. For example, you can see the product overview for Lead Pages here. They mainly do landing pages. They provide you very detailed insights. And they do pop-ups, which means the feature that your client wants, that the customer signs up for, is provided by them. You confirm that, so you can include that in your report. Another sample task, this one, you just have to read the blog articles from Kissmetrics. For example, the topic they like is 12 tools that can help build high converting landing pages. So you have to search for that. Tools to build high converting landing pages. So just read through, and from there, if you're good at writing, you already know how to get all these details and combine them into a great article. The other task is more complicated, but usually for lead generation, you use Google Sheets. So for example, this is for the building database. So you go to LinkedIn. Someone search for ad agencies in New York. You can filter this later on using companies because that's what they want. And you can also filter for location. Some of them are in Texas, some of them are in New York. But later on, you can use all the filters here. For example, you use New York here. Perfect. Connection for second. But these are for people filters. Okay. You can also filter the companies there. But again, my account is not premium. So if your client wants to do LinkedIn research, they should be able to provide you with an account that is paid or premium, because free accounts like the one I use here are very limited. So they also provide you a tool, Data Miner IO. Just download that. I believe it's an extension. Yeah, it is. When you activate that, it will automatically skim all the details in there and provide you an Excel file with an CSV export, which you can later on input in this Google Sheet you are creating. So these are the other things you can do in Google Drive. Google Docs is basically like Microsoft Word. Google Slides is PowerPoint. Google Forms, self-explanatory. Google Drawings for artists. Google My Maps if you want to build like a view of a certain location and provide links to hotspots. Google Sites, this is their free website builder, but you get a generic name of your website .googlesites.com domain. Some of these others are very technical, mostly used by developers like in Banshee and Google Jamboard. Apps script for apps. But most of the time, the clients would really want you to do work on Sheets and Google Docs. So just familiarize yourself with this. If you have an account, for example, this one is a new sheet we've created. You just share it with the client, whoever there, and then you can change it to anyone with a link, or it's restricted, like no one else will be able to open this unless they sign in. Also, you can create folders. So if you create a new folder and you have, for example, you have 2 clients, it will be easier for you later on to get files for which specific client you need, and it will be more organized. You can also upload any files here. You can upload images, presentations, whatever. You can also do this list view if you're not into the big images. I could go into more details on Google Tools if you want, but let me know so I could create that for our next few videos. And this is it for our training for this Monday. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something new. See you next week. Bye bye.